It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go.
That didn't hurt.
Shit.
What advice do you give President Trump this morning on what he should do from this point forward to make the United States stronger?
Well, first of all, he should take responsibility. He's in charge. When I came into office, I inherited a deal that President Trump negotiated with the Taliban. He should take responsibility. He's in charge. I inherited a deal that President Trump negotiated with the Taliban.
Well, Joe Biden was swept into power on the promise to reverse pretty much every single policy from Donald J. Trump he could find, which is why the false assertion that America's only solution in Afghanistan was a hasty withdrawal predetermined by Donald Trump is the real big lie nobody has had the courage to actually confront.
Under his agreement, U.S. forces would be out of Afghanistan by May 1, 2021, just a little over 3 months after I took office.
Now, Joe Biden passed more executive orders in his first 2 days on the job than his predecessor passed in his first 2 years in his effort to undo all things Trump. And yet, alarmingly, a man so committed to creating an anti-Trump presidency broke deals with our allies and re-entered deals with our enemies, somehow stood before the people of this nation and pretended that the disaster we have witnessed in Afghanistan is the result of the one Trump agreement with the Taliban that Biden had no choice but to honor.
U.S. forces had already drawn down during the Trump administration from roughly 15,500 American forces to 2,500 troops in country.
And Joe Biden had zero qualms about attempting to kill Trump's Remain in Mexico policy, all while unvaccinated, undocumented immigrants streamed across our southern border illegally at a record pace in the midst of a global pandemic.
I always promised the American people that I would be straight with you.
In fact, in his first 7 months on the job, you could make the argument that the only policy with Trump's name on it that Joe Biden has not attempted to rip up completely was the agreement with the terrorists that just took over Afghanistan. In truth, the time and manner of our exit, after 20 years of conflict, was Biden's choice, and Biden's choice alone.
If anything, the developments of the past week reinforced that ending U.S. military involvement in Afghanistan now was the right decision.
If Joe Biden decided he wanted to leave a small presence on the ground in Afghanistan to preserve the peace in the aftermath of the war, he had the authority to do so.
The past 4 years, we've had a president who's made his contempt for our democracy, our Constitution, the rule of law clear in everything he has done.
If Joe Biden wanted to change the date of America's exit from Afghanistan, he had the power to do so.
When I came into office, I inherited a deal that President Trump negotiated with the Taliban. Under his agreement, U.S. forces would be out of Afghanistan by May 1, 2021.
It was Joe Biden and his administration that made the decision to extend the withdrawal deadline once already, from May of this year to the August 31st deadline they just enforced.
American troops cannot and should not be fighting in a war and dying in a war that Afghan forces are not willing to fight for themselves.
Nobody forced this president to shift the withdrawal deadline to a date in the peak of fighting season in the Middle East.
We spent over $1 trillion.
The American citizens left behind, the Taliban walking around looking like modern-day G.I. Joes, all thanks to their $85 billion U.S. military starter kit that we left behind. Those are choices made by this president in concert with the unanimous support of his very own hand-picked foreign policy experts. And the notion that they seem content to play the blame game in the wake of this disaster and lay responsibility for this failure at the feet of the previous president should serve as a warning that the worst is truly yet to come.
To quote the elder Bush, read my lips, we will end this war. We will end this war. Oh, son of a bitch.
I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go. There's so many times I've let you down. So many times I've played